Hi, welcome back to the garden. Today is Saturday, December 10th, and you know what Saturday means. We're going to do a quick review of the garden, then we're going to go to you and celebrate what's going on in your garden. You gotta love December weather. It's actually not been too bad. Been about 50 in the day, 40, low 40s at night. It's still chilly outside. Yesterday the sun came out and we planted. Today we're gonna go ahead and put some more mulch on the garden. And if you're new to my channel, you're in for a real treat. Saturdays are reserved for you and celebrating what's going on in your garden. Let me get this first load over to the garden and then we got a few things to talk about. There's a friend of this channel that wrote in and it reminded me about something. Wade, you ask about beets and how we preserve them. Now when I started this channel, one of the things that bugged me was somebody would start something and they wouldn't finish it. My goal here was to show you exactly what happens and how long it takes and what you have to do in a garden. But now I've realized that once in a while I miss something. As far as the beets, we have done episodes on pickling and we really like that, but you can make a bread out of it. And it's not that you're making flour out of the beets, but it's more like a zucchini or a banana bread. But once you do that and you freeze it, it lasts a long time. And honestly, there's something fun about having a red bread. Red bread. So I hope that answers your question. We had the blister beetles this year and it mowed down most of the beet tops, so we were only getting a few at a time. We didn't have enough to actually make bread or do any pickling this year. Hopefully we'll have some more. That's why I've been planting beets so heavy this fall. That does bring up a really good point. If there is something that you want to see a follow-up on that I've forgotten, please let me know, and I will take care of that. It was unintentional, but the days just start slipping by so fast. And while I get this hay moved around, let's go ahead and take a look at one of our new friends and see how they're mulching their garden in England. Neil is a new friend of this channel. He wanted to show us what the chickens do to help with the compost. But I think Louie and Molly do most of the work by moving that straw from the rabbit hutches. Thank you for sharing and welcome to this community. Neil, that was fantastic. Welcome to the channel. Now, if you want to participate and let us celebrate what's going on in your garden, just email me at waylandsmalley5@gmail.com. I guarantee you, all of the gardeners would love to see what you're doing in your garden. This is how we get ideas. This is how we get inspiration. This is how we get motivation. We're just one big community that likes to get our hands dirty. While I go ahead and get another wheelbarrow load, let's go ahead and take a look at another one of our friends. Art's overwintered tomato is doing surprisingly well. It's set new fruit. And his pineapple is waking up, reminding us that spring is around the corner. Thank you, Art. And yes, from Art's note, spring is right around the corner. Shortest day of the year is only 11 days away. That's like Christmas to us gardeners. Let's get some of this mulch down. Let's go ahead and take a look at another one of our friends. Patrice, you're being very ingenious with your overwintering and seed starting. This is wonderful. You're going to be ready for spring as soon as it gets here. Thank you. Patrice, that was fantastic. Now, I'm not putting it all the way too heavy right up against the fence here. We do have some onions and some garlic that are growing. I want to make sure they stay covered a little bit, but they do need their cold time. And there's quite a bit of leaves there already. And I'm also being a little selective. The hay breaks down pretty fast. Without any leaves under it right here, this will be a walkway. But I'm covering it for right now. Let's go ahead and take a look at another one of our friends. Jamie is also a new friend of this channel, has put their garden to bed under a deep layer of leaves. We look forward to seeing what that soil looks like in the spring. Thank you and welcome to this channel. Now, that was absolutely fantastic. It did rain hard enough, it kind of knocked some of these down. They'll be all right, they'll stand right back up. Let's see how much water we got last night. Filled that tote up. Well, not quite full, but it did rain pretty hard last night. Okay, enough messing around. I got to get some more leaves. Our friends and neighbors are simply awesome. Please leave a comment down below and let everybody know just how much you appreciate them sharing what's going on in their garden around the world. I want to say a few words about mulch. I saw a thing the other day, a pretty successful gardener. He was kind of nibbling around the corners about mulch and about compost and the need to putting it on the garden. The school of thought is turning to deep mulch is really good for the garden. The reason why, I guess it's still up for debate. The reason we don't till is because we don't want to kill that life in the soil. The leaves, the hay, the wood chips, the cardboard, the shredded paper, the coffee grounds, the kitchen scraps, whatever you can get your hands on that's organic, that does not feed your plants. The life in the soil makes minerals from the sand, silt, and clay plant soluble. If the plant can't take it up, it doesn't do any good. The plants don't eat the stuff that we put on the surface. The stuff on the surface is to moderate the temperature, is to hold the moisture, and is to allow a great environment for the life to thrive underneath the ground. The stuff underneath the ground is what feeds your plants. The reason I chop and drop, leave the roots in, is because right at the root system, that's where all the bacteria and fungus are congregated. You pull that up, you've pulled all that life out, and that's the life you want to be there in the spring when you plant, to start that cycle all over again. So when you hear a gardener talk about your mulch on top as the nutrients or fertilizer for your plants, it's not exactly what happens. Whatever the plant needs, it has to be plant soluble. An example of one of the fertilizers is stone dust. That's rocks. Your plant's not going to do anything with rocks. Something has to break that down to make it plant soluble. Some of your hard fertilizers have to dissolve. Yes, if there isn't any life in the soil, yes, if you've just tilled up your soil, there isn't any life, you've got to put something in there, and that will work a bit. But this works better. And that goes back to the beginning of the episode when I was talking about the day-to-day progress of a garden. And I'm showing you exactly what I do. And we're coming into our 5th year. I've shown you what the soil looks like. I've shown you what the worms look like. I've shown you what the production looks like. And I do nothing except put this on top, and I know it's not feeding the ground. Although it does help capture carbon, which there's a great benefit, it does retain moisture and it does moderate the soil temperature. It creates a great environment for all that life, especially here in the winter. This ground is not going to be frozen. Well, except maybe this walkway that I'm slowly filling up. Talking about that, let me go get some more. You know, everything in life can be thought of as a process. As simple as brushing your teeth. You get up, you get your toothbrush, you put toothpaste on it, you brush your teeth, you rinse. That's the process. Gardening, you got to be patient. There is a process. We cover it, then the life does what the life does. And then we pull the mulch back, we plant into the soil, and we let that life and the seed and the sun do its process. Then we come out and pick and eat. It's just that simple. It does take a little while though, so you do need to be patient. And the second hardest work you're going to do in the garden is covering it with mulch. The first hardest work you're going to do in the garden is harvesting. I guarantee you, that's the kind of problem I like to have. I'm still expecting to have a fresh salad for Christmas. You can do this too. Let's go ahead and take a look at another one of our friends. Those are some beautiful cabbages. While Valerie was cutting, cleaning, and fermenting some sauerkraut, Rob was busy digging the last of the potatoes from their buckets. To give us all some hope that spring will arrive, Valerie threw in a splash of color. Looks like your Meyer lemons are going to be setting fruit soon. Valerie also found a lone sweet potato hiding at the bottom of one of the buckets. You gotta love those kind of surprises. As this round in your garden winds down, Looks like you got the next round already sprouted. Valerie, your garden is more than simply blessed, and I do want to thank you for being such a constant contributor and such a good friend to this channel. When Ruth Stout was asked about the mulch, she said more. And when I said more the other day, we had it up to here. Look how far it's come down. I've left buckets here and there so you can see the progression of the mulch as it breaks down and as it settles. So, oops, I forgot to tell you, we're going to have to add some more. Don't get me wrong, we don't want to have 2 feet of mulch in the garden all summer long. But by putting this much down now, right before winter starts hard, we're going to make sure that the ground stays covered, stays insulated, gives it plenty of time to break down, and then come spring, you're going to be just about the right level. We're putting those leaves down nice and fluffy and then the hay nice and fluffy on top, and that does allow it to settle a little bit, but we want that oxygen in there. We want to keep that aerobic. Now if you go anaerobic, you've just defeated the entire purpose. And that goes back to what I was talking about earlier. That's the life in the soil that takes care of your plants. Not only are these doing pretty good, it looks like we're starting a pretty good crop of wheat right here on the bales. I'm just gonna go ahead and let that grow, then we'll pull that up and add that to the mulch. Looks to me like we got a pretty good layer of mulch on the garden as it is. Well, except for the walkway here. And I think I got some wood chips coming, and I'm gonna go ahead and make a defined path with those. I did get another question about tilling. The question was, so you never till? And the answer is, so not for the last 5 years. The 2 main reasons are, you kill that life in the soil by disrupting it, and then you create a compaction layer which will allow anaerobic bacteria and fungus, which are disease causing, to take over. You don't want to do that. If this had been tilled, with the amount of rain we got last night, I couldn't be walking on it or pushing a wheelbarrow full of anything through it. And I'm out here walking on it, and I'm not all wet. So that's a great benefit right there. I hadn't talked about that in a little while. And the other really good thing about not tilling, you can set posts, you can set fences, you can set trellises, and you don't have to pull them up just to get a tiller in there. And we're going to add some more trellises. We're going to try to do some creative things. And yes, to my friends that are sitting at home looking through their seed catalogs because it's too cold, I got my seed catalog in the mail, and we're expecting some exciting things this year. We are going to try some sugar cane, and we got a friend of this channel that was kind enough to help me out with that. Bruce, Merry Christmas. Christmas is right around the corner, and if you haven't got your shopping done, go to my Amazon link in the description box below. It will help me out. Thank you for stopping by the garden and help me get some mulch down. Also help and celebrate our friends and neighbors around the world. And until next time, remember, take care of yourself, take care of your family, and God bless you. Come on, let's plant.
Let's go plant garden.